It's commercial purpose, right? Pranav, can you hear me, children?
No.
Yes, but nobody's answering.
Yes, ma'am.
Pranav, what's the answer?
Raw materials in industries. It is all sent to industries.
Yes. So it's an interface between the agricultural, from the farm to the industries. Yes. So which one of the following is a Rabi crop? Rice, millets, gram, and cotton.
Cotton.
Cotton. Who's that, Samarth?
Ma'am, gram.
Yes. So wheat, barley, peas, gram, and mustard are Rabi crops. So gram comes under a Rabi crop. Rabi crop is something which is grown in which season? Apurva?
Winter. Winter.
Yes, winter. Which one of the following is a leguminous crop? Pulses, millets, jawar, and sesame.
Pulses.
Yes. They are pulses. Out of all the pulses, one of the pulses is not a leguminous crop. Which one is it, Chaitanya?
Arhar.
Yes, very good. So now we're going to answer these questions in about 30 words as they're asking us. So these are short answers basically in 3 to 4 sentences. Name one important beverage crop and specify the geographical conditions required for its growth. So they are asking specifically about the geographical conditions. So they are not asking you where it stands in the country or in the world, how much is the production. So we are talking about geography here. So here amongst the beverage crops, you have 2 beverage crops. What are the 2 beverage crops that we have studied? Jan?
Tea and coffee.
Correct. Tea and coffee. So in case of both tea and coffee, there are certain common points. What are the common points?
Rich in humus, neat soil which is rich in humus and organic matter.
Ma'am, tropical and subtropical climates.
Yes, it's subtropical and it grows tropical and subtropical climate. Both are beverage crops, both are plantation crops, and both need well-drained alluvial soil. So besides that, when you come to individually, you can describe about any of the crops. So you, in case of tea, what can you say?
It grows well in the tropical or subtropical.
That's already been mentioned. So in
they
case
require warm, moist-free climate all throughout the year.
yes, and they require frequent
showers for tender leaves.
Yeah, correct.
For leaves.
And tea is a labor-intensive industry. So it requires a lot of labor, cheap skilled labor. That's what is one more very different as compared to coffee production. And tea is usually processed within the tea gardens to restore its freshness. And you can even talk about the origin in both the cases also varies. Tea has been introduced to us by the Britishers, but then coffee, which kind of coffee is famous in India?
Arabica.
Arab.
Where do we grow it?
Arabica.
Piyush, where do we grow it?
In the south.
Yeah, dear.
Ma'am,
Where
Baba
is the
Budan Hills.
Baba Budan Hills in Chikmagalur.
Baba Budan Hills in Chikmagalur. Very good. The next question is, name one staple crop of India and the regions where it is produced. So amongst the staple crops, you can write rice, you can write wheat too. But either of them we can discuss. Rice is a major crop of India. So it is grown in these following regions as I've mentioned. That is basically those regions which have sufficient amount of rainfall or water because it requires good amount of water. So the plains of north, the most fertile regions, the northeast India, which receives the maximum rain, coastal and deltaic regions where there is no dearth of water. Otherwise, it also can grow in those regions where proper irrigation facilities are present. Like after the Green Revolution, we have seen regions of Punjab, Haryana, those regions even growing rice. So what about wheat? Can you put your videos on? I want to see your faces.
Ma'am, my video is not working.
Ananya. The rest even it's not working. Amoga, put your video on. Pranav.
Ma'am, I can't put my video on since if I put my video on, your voice will start cracking.
Okay, done. So now moving to wheat. Where does wheat grow? The wheat is another staple crop, right? So where does wheat grow?
Ma'am, Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, and
Bihar, Rajasthan, yeah. But then
yeah,
basically, there's two zones that if you remember, what are the two zones?
Ganga, Satluj Plain, and
The black soil region of the Deccan Plateau. So those are
Deccan
the two
Plateau.
primary regions where we grow wheat. So the next question is, enlist the various institutional reform programs introduced by the government in the interest of the farmers. So under this, we had discussed both institutional reforms and technological reforms. Vaibhavi, what were the technological reforms that we had discussed?
Ma'am, the cards, what was it called? Case KCC.
No, I'm talking about the
Kisan Credit.
technological things. Yes, Sudesh. What were you saying?
Ma'am, collectivization. Oh, that's
Child, I'm talking about technology.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
institutional.
Yes, ma'am.
So in agriculture, what is the technology included? It's basically what?
The
Ma'am,
Weather bulletins,
Yes.
information on agriculture through radios and television, the
Yes,
green
yes.
revolution and white revolution.
Yes. Yes. And the introduction of technology into farming by the government subsidizing some of the technology used in the farms. So those were the technological changes. And what Vaibhavi was just telling us were some of the institutional reforms, such as collectivization, consolidation of holdings. She was talking about KCC. So all of these were institutional reforms. So these basically can come under 3 or 4 points, as you can see here. So first was collectivization, consolidation of holdings, cooperation and abolition of zamindari. Next was, of course, these land reforms were the main focus of the 5-year plans, but then it didn't, it had a lukewarm response from the farmers, because of which not much change did come, though few regions did benefit from it. And of course, we're going to talk about the provision of crop insurance against drought, flood, cyclone, fire, and disease, which was very important institutional reform which was brought during this time. Besides these, there were establishment of Grameen banks and cooperative societies, which gave loan at a very low interest, so that they came out of the trap of the middlemen. Next was KCC, PAIS, and MSP. So what are the full forms? Sudesh, KCC stands for?
Ma'am, KCC stands for Kisan Credit Card.
Yes. PAIS?
PIS stands for Personal Accident Insurance Scheme, and
Yes.
MSP stands for Minimum Support Price.
Okay. What is MSP, Ananya? What is MSP?
Can you repeat your question again?
What is MSP? Aman? What's MSP, Aman? Is Aman there? Yes, Aman. I can't hear you though. Yes, Aman.
Ma'am, his mic is not working.
His mic is not working. Who else will tell me? What is MSP? Agnes, Kanika,
Ma'am,
Gautam, anybody?
minimum
support price.
Yeah.
Government tells them a price
Huh.
that they grow more.
Who's this answering?
Darshan.
Yes, Darshil, tell me.
Ma'am, before the farmers sow the seeds, the government announces a price called minimum support price, so that the farmer increases their production.
No, not that the farmer will increase the production, child. Anybody else who can clarify this? Chaitanya? He's somewhere there, but not correct.
ma'am, the price government gives for the amount which government gives for the farmers to grow their crops, for buying the machines, pesticides.
No, Chaitanya. Amoga? Anybody else?
It is the minimum price offered to the farmers for buying the procure.
Yes, yes. If this is some fixed amount that government fixes as a remuneration for the procurement of the crop. So even if the crop is in plenty or if it is less, the farmer doesn't lose out. For example, if he has a sufficient amount of crop, and then what happens? The prices of the crop reduces. For example, he has a good mango harvest. So there's lots of mangoes, and what happens? The cost dips. The farmer loses out. Or if there is less production, the cost may go high. But in order to maintain a certain, so that the farmer gets enough returns of what he has invested, so there's a fixed price that the government fixes. That is what is known as MSP, at which the government buys the crop. It's not that not to help the farmer to grow the crop, but to stabilize him. Clear about that? Clear, children? Any doubts on MSP?
No, ma'am.
So now we move on to so you're going to write this answer in this manner. Clear? So the next question is, the land under cultivation has got reduced day by day. Can you imagine its consequences? So what will happen if the land that we are using for cultivation is coming down by the day? So, Aman, I can't hear you as yet. Is Kanika there? Tanushri? Tahia? Shubhangi?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Shubhangi, tell me, what would happen if the cultivation, the land under cultivation is reduced?
Ma'am, there will be a food shortage for the rising population.
Yes. And
There will also be inflation in the price of food grains.
very good.
Um,
Anything else besides what I have written here? Shortage of food, inflation, imports will increase of foreign products.
there will be a shortage of supply for raw materials in industry.
Yes, very good. And it may even give a rise in the unemployment to a great extent, because most of our population is associated with agriculture.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So the next set of
There's one more
questions.
point also.
Yeah,
It can decrease the share in GDP.
yeah, it's going to affect the economy. Right. And then the next question is, answer the following questions is about 120 words, that is long question. Suggest the initiatives taken by the government to ensure the increase in agricultural production. So what are the steps that the government has taken to increase the agricultural production? So this is a whole lot of things that we have discussed at present about the provision of crop insurance, Kisan credit cards, and technological and institutional reforms. All of them in detail will come here. So you're going to talk about the white revolution, the green revolution, yes, Aniket?
5-year plan.
Yeah, 5-year plans. So you're going to talk about all of them in detail over here. As you can see here, so you're going to talk about green revolution, white revolution. You're going to talk about the comprehensive development schemes that were brought about, the insurance, the credit card facilities. You're going to talk about the weather bulletins, that's the technological changes that were brought about, the MSP which was introduced. So all of this has to be covered under this question.
Grameen banks also, no, ma'am.
Yes, yes. So both institutional as well as technological reforms have to be included. Here you can also include the establishment of ICFI, that is Indian Council of Agricultural Research. So that was even initiated. So all of which add in order to increase the agricultural production. The next question is, describe the impact of globalization on Indian agriculture. So agriculture, globalization was always a part and parcel of our country. We were very much associated with it right from the time of colonialization. So you're going to start from there. In the 19th century, we had European traders. We were trading spices. We were trading cotton. That's what attracted the British to India. So besides all of that, we actually faced a lot of problem later on after the 1990, after the LPG reform. We talked about the LPG reform, like Aniket last time told us that it was not liquid petroleum gas, but it was
Liberalization, globalization, and privatization.
very alert. Okay. So after that, what happened? We had to face foreign competition. So when we started having competition of the agricultural products with the foreign countries, where the subsidy given to their farmers was very high, so it affected us because we couldn't reduce on our prices for the crops, though the quality was good. So what happened? This put India into a place of at the crossroads. Sudesh, why did it put India at the crossroads?
Ma'am, I was not there while you were explaining that. My internet was unstable.
Okay, so why didn't you ask me that you didn't know about it? So we were at the crossroads because we were in a situation where the population was increasing, the land size was decreasing, and the income was also decreasing, right? So the economists actually said that with the reduce in the land size holdings, we will not benefit much. So what happened was and even the greenhouse I'm saying, what's it? The green revolution backfired. So we had so many problems with the green revolution, which did give us some change in the productivity. But then all of that went for a toss, and we had to bring about newer and different changes and a newer perspective to agriculture. So that's how globalization has actually affected India. And now we are moving on to taking more care of these marginal and small farmers and helping them in diversify agriculture, going about gene revolution. And what else did we do under that? Diversification of agriculture, gene revolution, and organic farming, which we are introducing nowadays so that we can compete with the foreign market, because these are all cash crops. And we can even sustain the environment, because the amount of water that is required for growing such kind of crops, such as fruits, vegetables, or medicinal plants, is much less as the normal staple crops that rice or wheat or sugarcane when we grow them. Is that clear what you need to write under this answer? Clear, children?
Ma'am, but organic farming does not have a lot of production.
Organic farming does not have a lot of production, but it is a way of going back to answering to the questions of green revolution, because that brought about a lot of degradation of the land. So in order to sustain the environment, we need to, that's why this is something in vogue which is happening now. We are talking basically about growing cash crops and diversifying the agricultural field so that we can earn more. So these are the few steps that we have taken towards it. It's not that we are going to earn the entire thing by this. So these are small changes which are being brought about. Even when you talk about gene revolution, it's not that all the crops that we grow now are which have something that based on gene revolution. It's only cotton that is being done. The study on other fields is happening even today. So basically, we are talking about the position of India. So we are facing the competition with the foreign markets, which we are not being able to do. For example, if I run with if you all are made to run with, who's that? Aryan, who's the fastest Hussein Bolt for our school. So
Aryan Manoj.
Aryan Manoj.
Yeah, Aryan Manoj will always have the edge, isn't it? So it's like that. So we have tough competition now. So that's our state at present. So we are talking about what is the state, what is the impact of globalization on Indian agriculture, because the duties, the taxes have been reduced, because of which foreign products are coming in competition with our agricultural produce. Clear? Okay. So next is describe the geographical conditions required for the growth of rice. This is a simple, straightforward question. So it's like what we've already discussed. Rice is a kharif crop. You're going to start with that. Then, of course, here I've just jotted down the points. You can elaborate it saying that a kharif crop is a crop which is grown during which season? Which season?
Summer.
Yes.
Rainy season.
Yeah. So summer, it is when you're going to write about the harvest, the sowing season and the harvesting season. Then you're going to go about where we grow them. The northern plains in the northeastern India, coastal areas and deltaic regions. Why do we grow them there? Since it's a kharif crop, we know it requires high temperature and sufficient amount of rainfall, about 100 centimeters, temperatures about 25. And the soil that is required is alluvial and clay soils, which you're going to mention. And then, of course, you're going to mention about, because of the Green Revolution, there are certain changes which have been brought about. And all these provisions, all this is what is required for growing rice, is being satisfied in regions of Punjab, Haryana, and Western Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan because of the irrigation facilities, canals, and tube wells. And now we grow rice even in these regions. So these are the 4-5 points which you need to elaborate when you're asked to describe the geographical condition for growing rice or any other crop. So these will be the basic points. So the next is, I think, is an activity puzzle which is given to you here. Have you done this?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Okay. There's 2 staple food crops in India.
Wheat, rice.
Wheat and rice.
Where is wheat? Where is rice? You can see here.
Wheat.
I think this is wheat.
Yeah.
H-E-A-T-S. I'm very bad with using this. Wheat and where is
But
rice?
Rice is right above it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So that is rice. So the 2 staple food crops of India is wheat and rice. And this is a summer cropping season of India. Summer cropping season of India.
Kharif.
Kharif.
So this is Kharif over here. You can see that. And pulses like arhar, moong, gram, urad contain what?
Protein.
Correct. Proteins. Where do we find proteins? Proteins are somewhere here. Correct? The next question is, it is a coarse grain.
Millet.
Yeah, millets is a coarse grain, but do you have millets here? I think it's jowar, which I can see here. Jowar is kind of a millet and it is a coarse grain. The 2 important beverages in India.
Tea, coffee.
Tea, coffee.
Okay, can you find the tea and coffee? Yeah, this is coffee over here. And where is the tea? I can't find tea. Can you find tea? I don't know. I think you can look for that.
It's right above coffee.
Right above coffee?
Like.
Yeah, got it. Thank you, Vaibhavi. So that's tea. The next is one of the 4 major fibers grown on black soils. Of course, it is.
Cotton.
Black soil means it's cotton and it is very much here. So got the answers for all this?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So now we'll move to, there are many other questions even. Like for example, the most asked questions is, what is the importance of agriculture in Indian economy? So you're going to talk about the percentage involved, or name 3 features of Indian agriculture. What is plantation agriculture? So you can have specific questions like name 3 important wheat producing states. So these are some of the some questions usually which come, like multiple choice questions can come through. Or distinguishing between shifting agriculture and subsistence agriculture, between Rabi and Kharif crop, tea and coffee, some differentiation may even come like that. So these are some of the questions which can be expected. And now we'll start with the map work. So I'll share my screen again. Here children, this is the map work for this lesson. So you need to jot this down. This is the syllabus for this lesson. Major areas of rice and wheat, and largest and major producer states of sugarcane, tea, coffee, rubber, cotton, and jute. So there are 6 of them. We need to know the major producers, and we need to know the areas where we grow rice and wheat. Okay, where we grow extensively and a little less. So that's what we are going to do next. So you can see here, these are the major rice growing areas of India. As we have already discussed now in twice in this question answers, that they are mostly seen in the northern plains, as you can see here, the coastal regions and the deltaic regions. Now the dark green, there are two shades if you can mark. That one is the major area which is in the darker shade, and the lighter shade shows the other areas where we are.
Other areas.
Yes. So you need to mark this on your maps now. So let's start doing that. So these are the major rice growing areas of India. So do make an index and write major areas and other areas. Write major rice growing areas of India and then shade this like this. So mostly, if you remember, that is in the northern plains, the coastal areas, as well as the deltaic regions, the delta regions where it is the major areas for production of rice.
Could you show the crops for the second one?
Edwin, I can't hear you.
Crops which you have to mark for the second one. Major producer of the following crops. The second part.
Major rice growing areas and major wheat growing areas. So we are doing with the major rice growing areas now. Next we'll do with the major wheat growing areas. So mark the major rice growing areas of India now. Edwin, is that what you were asking me?
No, ma'am.
What were you asking me?
The second question.
You're asking me about this?
Yes, ma'am. Just 1 second.
Okay. Done, Edwin? It is sugarcane, tea, coffee, rubber, cotton, jute. Cotton and jute, 5, yeah, done. So mark this now. Jaypreet, are you doing it? Please do it.
Yes, ma'am.
Can't come to see, right? But you shouldn't miss out on this. Please do it. Usually the regions come for identification. They may draw a patch somewhere and ask you what kind of crop is growing in this region too.
I'm done.
Done? Okay. So these are the major wheat producing areas.
Can you show the rice again?
I want the slide again. This one?
Yes, ma'am. 1 minute, 1 minute.
Yeah. So the children who have finished this, please mark the next map, write major wheat producing areas of India, make the index similarly, major areas and other areas. Choose another shade of, take another 2 shades of colors. Ran finished? Yes?
Done, ma'am.
Yeah. So these are the major wheat producing areas. As you can see, it's basically in the northern belts, the Ganga Satluj plains, and very less in the deltaic regions. So you're going to mark basically in this region is the darker shade of the major producers, and these are the other producers, other regions which produce wheat. I think it's also there in your textbook. Major wheat and distribution of wheat and distribution of rice. It's there on page number 37 and 39 of your text too.
Yes, ma'am.
But do it now, quick. Mark the regions. As Sudesh was telling us, it's basically Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and a little bit of Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, which are the major producers of wheat. So if you know the states, it's easy for you to mark. Done, Sudesh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Aniket is doing it as yet. Ananya has got a problem, but others don't have. Why don't you put your videos on? I want to see where you're working. Aman, Webvi is all
Ma'am,
good.
my internet is unstable right now.
Agnes, yours too? Agnes is not there. Darshil, Ashwin, can't see them. Kanika, Shubhangi, Sia,
Amit, your voice breaks if I put my video.
all of them. Even Tahia? Okay. Are you done with this? The major wheat producing areas of India?
Yeah.
Jaipreet done? Okay. Aniket, should I move to the next slide?
Done, ma'am.
Okay. So children, these are the major areas of rice and wheat production. Rice, as we've studied, is Orissa, West Bengal and Bihar. If you remember, 3 crops are grown here, Os, Aman and Boro. So these are the 3 regions for production of rice. For wheat, it is Punjab, Haryana and Madhya Pradesh. Somebody's doors are squeaking. Okay. So now the largest or the major producer, this is what is there in our syllabus. For sugarcane, you can actually make some, any symbol, may not be sugarcane, anything which is easy for you or color coded so that you can mark it in that particular state. For example, the biggest producer of sugarcane is Uttar Pradesh, which is followed by Maharashtra. So if you are asked for one producer, you're going to put down the first name, right? For tea, it'll be Assam and West Bengal. Jot down these names if you do not know them. Coffee is Karnataka and Kerala. These are the 2 regions where we grow coffee actually. Rubber is Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Cotton is Maharashtra. No, cotton is Gujarat first. Can I change this now? No. Where did it go? No, it went somewhere. Fine. I'm not being able to change this, children, but then cotton, the biggest producer is Gujarat, followed by Maharashtra. So do write it that way. First Gujarat and then Maharashtra. And jute, of course, is West Bengal and then Bihar. So jot this down and you need to put that particular color code or any figure that you draw in that particular state. You're going to mark it that way on the map. This I've just given you as an extra input. This is what is there in your syllabus. Sugar, tea, coffee, rubber, cotton and jute. Remember, cotton, Gujarat comes first, Maharashtra comes second. First write them down, and since you know the state, you can just mark it over there. For this, you'll need a political map. If it's a political map, the states will be marked, so it will be easy for you to identify them. So sugarcane is in Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra, as you can see here. This is Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra. Tea is in Assam and West Bengal. Here.